Money. It's either the idol we chase or the fear we avoid. Most of us don't know how to think about money, so we stay small, we stay stressed, we stay secretly ashamed. Today, we talk about how to master money without losing your soul. If you love this YouTube channel or podcast, I think you'll love my newsletter even more. It's free to sign up, and if you become a paid member, you get deep dive emails every Wednesday, early access to my free webinars, even free seats to paid intensives, fireside chats, basically VIP treatment all around, all for the cost of a latte a month. Head over to christianrayflores.com and join the tribe. So let's get into it. How does your origin story shape the way you think about money today? And sometimes we don't really trace this, but it's most of the time there. I grew up mostly poor. I grew up for many years in the third world, South America, Africa, Eastern Bloc countries. So I have all these distorted ideas about money, and a lot of it has to do with ideology. I was brought up by a couple of Marxists. And then I became an economist. I became a huge fan of free enterprise, capitalism. So I have this sort of strange dilemma of, free enterprise in my heart and Karl Marx in my bones sort of thing, right? And what happens is when we have distorted views of money, it keeps our skills undervalued. It keeps us underpaid. If we fix our money beliefs, we amplify our work, we increase our generosity, we're able to sort of foster and nurture our creativity. We can do more things for more people in more places, right? That's what I say. The other dimension, the source of sort of distorted ideas about money is this sort of primal part of who we are, almost like a limbic belief on resources, right? It's fear of scarcity that is really primal, has nothing to do with origin story, has nothing to do perhaps with ideology. And it sort of keeps us nervous and stressed about money, although our reality is very different from the systems that were built, thousands of years ago. We live in the most prosperous era in human history. If you live in America or Western Europe, you probably live in the most prosperous nations that ever existed. And yet our brain still tells us there's danger, there's danger, there's danger, there's scarcity, there's scarcity, there's scarcity. And we have this illusion of limited resources, ILR, it's called. And it's not just money, it's other things. I am not smart enough, I'm not, talented enough, I might be rejected by my tribe. These are all primal sort of limbic things. And they are very, very present in people that are very, very successful. So because we're wired to panic about money, even when we have more than we need, it just keeps us down. So it makes a lot of sense to dig in, figure out what's going on, figure out how to reconfigure the way we think, our view, our ideas that are hardwired into us. I'll give you an example that is fairly extreme, but it's very descriptive. There was this incredible baseball player. His name was Orlando Hernandez. His nickname was El Duque. He was in Cuba. I think he led his team to Olympic gold in baseball. And in Cuba, of course, it's a communist oppressive regime. So he was paid, I think, around $10 to $15 a month or something like that. So he defects. It's an incredible story. You should look it up. I actually included it in one of the chapters of my book, Little Book of Big Reasons to Love America, about immigrants and about new opportunities. So look it up as well. He defects to the United States and he joins the New York Yankees. I think he signs a contract of about $6.6 million. He's a millionaire. Like he goes from making $120 a year to making $6 million. I think it was 3-4 year contract, something like that. So they're celebrating this. They're having this party, and back in Cuba, you would run out of stuff even during a party. So he got nervous about running out of beer or something like that, and the patrons had to show him a place full of stocked beer before he sort of realized that no, he's not going to run out of stuff. And also, the reality of him being a millionaire did not immediately cure his illusion of limited resources. It's an extreme example, but that works for us as well. It's actually quite relevant. So what I want to show you is ways that you can actually tweak your worldview, sort of correct even your emotional response to money that will help you generate incredible value downstream, more money downstream, and do more good downstream. The reason I tell you this story about El Duque, even though it's an extreme story, is that it applies to us. We live in the most prosperous time in history. If you live in America, you live in the most prosperous nation in history. You have more opportunities that most people that ever lived have, and you still can have an illusion of limited resources, just like El Duque had, even though he was a millionaire. How do you change that? Well, first, I think you need to introduce some daily habits to really rewire the way you feel about money and you stress less about it, because that opens up creativity, opens up new ways for you to think about this thing. So, how can you do that? Okay. First of all, review your expenses regularly. I think we avoid reviewing our expenses regularly because we want to avoid reality and stressing out more. But if you lean into it, you start feeling more in control, more clear. You can lower your burn rate, which is I highly recommend doing. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Lower your burn rate to as much as possible. Live not, according to your means, but way below your means. Learn emotional self-regulation. Learn how to contemplate, meditate, realign your emotional state so that you're not reactive, especially reactive in things about money, because if you're reactive about money, you're not going to master money. The other thing is learn how to be generous. Decide where you're going to give charity-wise to your church, to your charity before you make the money. And actually that rewires you towards generosity. And I find that to be extremely helpful in general. So in order for us to not get confused, anxious, stressed out about money as much as we do quite often. And I can tell you, for me, it was something that I've been working hardest on than anything else because of my origin story. I think the best definition of money is just that it's stored value, right? I solve somebody's problem, somebody pays me for the value I added to their lives. I have this stored value now, and I can give it to somebody who can solve my problem because solving that problem for me is more important than the money that I have. So it's a great trade for me, right? It's not even a trade. There's a gift that they give me that is worth more for me than the money I pay them. The reason why reframing your money ideas is massively important for you is because if we think of it as stored value, then we can very easily understand that we can undercharge and under-earn solely because we undervalue our capabilities. I'll unpack this for you. When you ask yourself, what should I charge this person? Or what's this kind of service price point sort of range? Or this kind of role in a company? What's the potential for earning? You're asking the wrong question, because then you're commodifying yourself immediately, because you're saying, well, a manager, a director, a orchestra conductor, whatever, this is the range. What you should be asking is, what kind of problem can I solve that is unique and higher in value? Because if you're a generality, you're a postman, a manager, a lawyer, a doctor, a marketer, you can be easily commodified. You will be compared to the same thing, orange to orange, oranges to oranges, right? If you're specific and you become a brand, you solve a specific higher grade problem, you hold premium value that cannot be commodified. Now you have a completely different way of thinking about money and doing things with it. So I'll give you a real example. I'm a video producer. I'm a media producer. I can do all kinds of things. Most of the range of things for a video production I can do. I can do it well at a high level. So I can present myself and work as a video producer, or I can start a company, which I did a few years ago, called Hollywood World. And basically, I would solve a higher level problem. I worked only with premium level Hollywood producers, crews, et cetera, just the best of the best. I would offer the service to international artists who didn't have access to this kind of service, and I would translate the cultural language. We would write scripts that would fit perfectly for that market, and I can command higher premium value for that because I was solving a problem that other people couldn't solve, and then the people that were asking to solve that problem couldn't find people like that. So my value becomes immediately higher because it cannot be commodified. So how can you apply this to your life right now in a way that adds value and helps you on the money front? Find your edge. Even if it's familiar, trust me, you have things to offer to the world. Find your edge. What is it that you're uniquely good at specifically? Sometimes it's harder to do, sometimes it's easier to do, but do it. Develop from that edge a specific solution that it's a higher level solution that solves a higher level problem. Create a brand out of it, a personal brand, publish it online, be known, refine that over and over and over again. Make an offer, a scalable offer. It could be a service, a product, a digital product that you can infuse this edge, the specific solution in, and make it accessible to people. Offer it to people. Make corrections as people respond. Make a non-scalable offer, a premium level, one-on-one, premium clients, custom consultings, things like that. Put it out there. See what happens. I want to motivate you to actually try this out. And if you need some help, you can actually come to us, and that's what we help people with. The things that this will do for you is it will lower your financial stress, give generosity a chance for you to just invest in your favorite charity, in your church, free your spouse possibly from a job they don't want to carry. You can hire a team to take care of the things that drain you. You can buy back time, invest in your health, family, mission. Trust me, this is going to help you. And a practical thing that I want to ask you to do is this. Create 3 scenarios on how you can solve a problem for someone else. Where and how can you make those offers? How can you deliver those offers? Create 2 or 3 levels of access, free, entry, premium. Make it a thought experiment. Share it with somebody you know. See what happens with your mind when you just start thinking about that. Money is just stored value. If you offer more value, you command more money. Learn the playbook.